All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Journey to Becoming a Head Coach. As always, I'm your host, Jeff Freeman. Thank you for all the love, sharing, subscribing, comments, all that good stuff. Today, everyone's favorite against cover three, 4 verts. Everyone talks about, well, what's the number one run play you want to run against cover three? Now, I'm a little bit different, but I would say for me, as far as depending on my quarterback, I'm looking at some hitches, especially if these guys are playing off like they normally do in cover three. If they're playing 8 to 10 yards, like they should be in cover three, I might be looking to throw hitches into the boundary first, because getting 4 or 5 yards, that's going to be an easier throw than trying to get a 10, 12, 13, 14 yard pass. But again, a little bit of a different cat. I'm kind of looking at it, common sense and logic. Is it easy? Is it an easier pass for my quarterback to pull out and throw a little 4 yard dink and dunk on the boundary side? Or even if I'm able to bring my Z in a little bit closer to him and throw it to the field and let my Z get there, rather than saying, all right, 1, 2, 3, and then throw, and let him throw 10, 12, 15 yards downfield. So again, a little bit of a different cat, and I also predicated on what can my quarterback throw. My quarterback's got an arm, sure, we're gonna throw downfield, and we're gonna throw 4 verts. If I don't have a very good quarterback, I'm like, okay, let's work hitches, slants, and outs. Let's work that. Let's just work that all the time until we get a little bit better. So, because again, we all know the easiest throw, at least in my opinion, the easiest throw in football is right over the middle, right in here. This throw, where it's outside, over the top, that is a lower percentage throw than being able to throw it over the middle, at a 5 to 6 yard slant, and a 12 to 15 yard fade route. Now again, some of you can argue, well, if you have a good quarterback, it's not. Well, I agree, but at the high school level, how many of us are, a quarterback factory? So sometimes you got to live with what you got. So 4 verts, again, out of a double tight look. This is also, obviously some of you that run spread, this is going to be spread tight. You bring tight ends in. So 4 verts, again, trying to put the safety in conflict as far as being able to attack the seams. I mean, primarily when you're running 4 verts, you're trying to really get that free safety to make a decision. You can use reads, you can use the goalposts. Are they in the goalpost, out of the goalpost when you're on the field? But most of the time, if you're in the middle, you're attacking the hashes. And if you have a quarterback that's worth anywhere in their salt, you have them try to fool the safety. So if it's field side and they're releasing out and getting up on that, you might be having them read, get that free safety to flow, and then throw back to the H on the other side, or your other tight end on the other side. And then of course you still have your normal 4 vert on the outside as well. So I mean, basic premise of the 4 vert, attack the seam, get the free safety to pick a side, and get them to flow and then go. Now again, like I said, if you're on a boundary, let's just say you're on the boundary side right here and you're running this, and usually what we used to tell our safeties, especially when cover 3, is pyramid the number 1s. Well, if you pyramid the number 1s, that's going to put you outside of the goalpost. Goalpost is going to be over here. So what we try to tell our quarterbacks is, okay, well, what's going to be the easier throw? It's going to be an easier throw over here, especially if you look to the H. So we would tell them, okay, make the free safety move over to here, 1, 2, staring down that H, and then throw to the Y on the seam. So again, trying to get the free safety to move, because what do we teach safeties and corners in zone? Read the quarterback, read the quarterback's eyes. So if we're able to train our quarterback, be like, hey, if he's for some reason outside of those poles because he's taught to split the number 1s, then get him to pull over a little bit and give your Y a little bit farther of a run. If for whatever reason, which I've seen this, maybe they keep their free safety in the middle of the field, in the middle of those goalposts, so he's more over the Y than anything. That's okay, fine. Look at that Y, get him to come over a little bit, then throw to the H on the backside. So, a little bit easy premise of 4 verts. Now, what happened to us, again, playing some tight end, what ends up happening? The ends and those linebackers end up cheating in and really rerouting. So then, of course, what happened? We spread everybody out to give us some more room. So now we spread everybody out, and we're sitting more in a true spread. So now we're spreading people out, trying to get everybody to widen up. So getting everybody to widen out. So now it's a little bit easier. And now, of course, we back the quarterback up. So again, just kind of a little evolution of what I've seen, how we ran 4 verts before, and then how we kind of get into 4 verts later. So now again, now you're trying to get, especially if they're in a cover 2, let's just say now, because a lot of teams start out in cover 2 against 4 verts. So when you're starting out in a little bit of more of a cover 2 look now, it's a little bit difficult, but it's doable to run 4 verts. But you got your corner. Sam's going to widen out. And depending on what they do, maybe they widen out the will linebacker and they have a 5-man box because they know you like to throw the ball, or it's 3rd down or whatever. They widen everybody out and they want to stay in that cover 2 look. Or they just bring that one safety over the top at 8 to 10. He knows he's got to get over the top of the X, but he's got to help to give that will a chance to get over the top. But what we saw kind of ended up happening is maybe they do widen out a little bit more and they play that end where he's the inside gap. So now the Mike is free to read the quarterback and the ace, and these guys are really going to reroute everybody. Now again, same premise. The only thing is what we liked to do, depending on where we're at, is one of these guys was going to run a post route for us. And how we determined that was based on what these safeties like to do. Now, of course, we still have our normal 4 vert on the outside. You know, normal outside go routes and 4 verts. But what we liked to do is, depending on, again, if we were in the middle of the field, if we knew he was a run defender, then we were like, okay, we're going to go ahead and put this receiver on a post route. Because we figured if we could get him up the field, get that safety to come down hard, we'd have a better chance of getting there. And then plus, that free safety has to stay back here and help and split these 2 verts, and then these guys got to drop back. So we got 2 on 3 here. But if we could get this Y to beat the strong safety inside, especially if he was a run defender, then we figured we had a better shot going against a run defender who's more used to coming down into the box and playing the run fits. Maybe not the best pass protection player. So that's how we would kind of scheme it, is we would look at which safety was the weaker one, and then of course if we were on a boundary, side, so then again if we were on the boundary or the field, we would tend to run the boundary slot on the post route. So if this is the boundary side again, over here, and we would kind of tell him to run it almost borderline in between a slant and a post. So he's not, if that safety's at 10 yards, he's pulling up at 6 and going up. So it's kind of more of a slant than it is a post. And again, he's coming hard up to keep that safety honest. So our W's, our receivers were taught, look at the safety. Just because we say 8 to 10 or 10 to 12, if he's at 10, don't run a 10-yard post. You're running into him. If he's at 10, cut it at 6 and go. Give our quarterback a chance to hit you in that nice little hole right there, especially if that will's not able to get over the top of you. Well, now let's just say that you get some odd front and they're in a cover 2, because this is what kind of gave us some fits and we had to make some adjustments, and I got some things from some clinics and some coaching meetings and things like that. But say you're in an odd front and now you actually have outside backers kind of sitting inside shade, and they're just like, okay, we're not going to let you get the seams. A couple different things you can do is now you can use your outside guys to get to the seams. So we would say, okay, well, what are these guys really usually not good at? Okay, so they're there to make sure that my Y's and my W's don't get upfield. Okay, fine. Then I'm going to have them do one of 2 things. If these guys are really good rerouters, then I had them running speed outs, or we haven't done this yet, but primarily we try to run the speed outs. But we found that we are seeing now that these guys still will come up and reroute us. Haven't tried this yet, but I've seen a couple teams run more bubbles, so then that way these guys can't get to them. So we're looking into doing that. So that's one avenue we're looking at. I haven't done it yet, so I can't tell you if it works, but we used to run speed outs instead. And that was working for a little while, but then we still had issues where those salmon rovers or those outside backers were lining up hard and hitting us good and really rerouting us to where that was kind of screwing us up. So, but what we would do here on the outside now is we'd say, okay, well, if they're going to do that and they're going to really attack that hard, well, then fine, then we're going to run little skinny and get to the seams this way. And again, predicated on if we were in the middle of the field, we would try to basically premise it off of this was our best receiver, and depending on where they lined up in cover 2, if we were in the middle of the field and these guys sat on the hashes, then we would tell them, hey, skinny it up, so then that way we have a window. If we were on a hash mark, and let's just say, again, if they were outside the field goal posts, then we would try to look here, hit the boundary. If they were inside, we'd look here and hit the field. So it would really depend on where your landmarks are and what you can preface off of what these safeties are doing. So that was kind of our evolution from double tight to a little bit of a spread to now, okay, we've been running out routes and we've been running go routes or really skinny posts to try and really squeeze it in here against these to squeeze it in against those safeties. So, and I know that's not really a true 4 vert play, but that was an adjustment we had to make because our 4 verts were getting attacked by these outside backers a lot. So another adjustment you can make on that front as well is, again, we haven't tried it yet. We haven't tried the arcs. We've tried out routes, which again, you know, you could say, well, that really isn't 4 verts. I get that, but that was an adjustment we had to make. But that's as far as our true 4 verts. Now, something we did play with, and we did a little bit in the spring. Now, of course, for those of you that know, we're not having a season this year. But a couple years ago, at another school, we were playing with empty and quads a lot. So now quads gets really kind of fun, and I just want to show you this one because this one I really enjoy. Is a quads one. It's just something that I was playing with, and to be brutally honest, have I run it really in a game yet? No, we've run it in 7-on-7, we've run it in some spring ball, but we haven't run it in an actual game yet. So some of you are going to look at me and be like, this looks insane, I don't see how you're going to be able to do that. So again, most of the teams we see run an even front, and most teams we saw like to run a 4-4 basically against us. So again, in my head, it's like, all right, well, fine, you can run that. So again, our X was our best receiver. So he was our best receiver, hands down. So and we could play games with the Y and the W if we wanted. We were playing games with doing a little bunch set and things like that. So again, just playing games with it. But in any case, the idea behind this is like, okay, if you're going to put everybody over here, because what do you really have to do now? I mean, yeah, you got your corners, but you got to widen everybody. You got to bring a safety over, especially if you're trying to sit in cover 2. You got to bring the Sam. Your Mike's here, your W's here, so now your free safety's kind of borderline in the middle between the two. It almost looks like a cover 3, even though you're trying to keep it, maybe trying to keep a cover 2 look. But again, most of the teams we saw ran a cover 3. So if we're seeing this, we're going to look at this and say, okay, he's way over. This is where we would basically give a 2-way go. If that corner's playing up, we're telling him, hey, get up the field, get outside on his hip and go. And that's essentially his first read right out the gate. If he's off, and again, he has to like the matchup, of course, but if he's off, the X automatically knows he's taking one step and he's going right now, because that's a far, even if this is into the boundary, let's just say this is the boundary side, that's still a long run, because that W is sitting over here. There's 4 guys over here. They're going to have a hard time not cheating over there, even if they know that that's our best receiver. And if that's our best receiver, catch it, get upfield. So that's something we were tweaking with. Now, as far as the rest of everybody else, we were thinking about one of 2 things. We played with it where he was helping set the edge, and we were just going to help in that way, and we were just going to run slide away and into the boundary. So then that way our quarterback just had to worry about the front side, and then we were going to essentially run a vert, and then we were going to run a little post, a little short post right there to try to squeak behind the safety and this Sam linebacker. So again, the idea was, okay, we're going to put everybody on this side, and we're going to put our best receiver over here, and we're going to see what you do. And then if they really want to cheat and really, you know, rotate down into a cover 3, now we know, okay, they're going to cheat down into a cover 3. Okay, fine. So we know he has a deep third. He's probably going to the flat. He's got hook. So now we know, depending on where he is, now we can just read the free safety. Because again, if we're on a boundary, and this is where it's hard for safeties to really predicate this on us, because now, let's just say, all right, fine. You're going to cheat hard over here, and you're going to try and split the number 1s, which kind of puts you over our tackle. Okay, fine. We're going to look over here. We're going to throw this backside look right here. Especially if he's down, we're going to throw that vert now, because there is he is on an island. He might as well just be in man coverage. That's what he might as well be in. And to be brutally honest, when we were teaching defense and when I was teaching defense, if we were running any kind of trip set, we pretty much told that corner, you're manned up. Do not get beat deep. Do not get beat inside. Force them out to the edge and shove them into the sideline. You're man on man. Don't even think about the safety help. Just don't. So even if it was cover 2, we're like, don't rely on the safety help. Just don't. You're man on man. You're single on single. So that's how we predicate that. Now let's just say the free safety knows. We've thrown it a couple times. Okay, I got to cheat back over here. I got to be more true and help. Well, now it's a very simple read. We're going to tell our Y to really get up inside, and we're looking right to the Y. We're going to look Y, and then we're going to look W. If we don't get Y or W, we're going to pull off and run. Because if that safety cheats hard over, or if he tries to attack the post, then this is going to be wide open, because if he gets hard inside, that safety, this strong safety knows he has to get to the flat. And we could also play games where we've done this before, and we've just had the Z run a little hitch, and that safety sinks and that corner sinks. Now we're throwing a hitch and he's getting 8 to 10 because everyone's playing off so hard. So, but if we want to run a true 4 vert, everybody goes. We're looking for the Y. The Y's got to beat that safety inside, because the outside backer has to account for the W, and that safety's not, if he tries to surpass and he comes hard over the top rotating, that W is going to cut right underneath him. Again, we teach the W. Anyone that's running that post, he's supposed to look at that safety. If that safety's 10 yards, he's running 6 and he's cutting it hard underneath the safety. So if that safety's over the top and that quarterback sees him just bailing as hard as he can, he'll hit the W kind of coming on like a really shallow post route coming over the top. If that safety doesn't really move much, just kind of slides a little, he knows he's going for the Y. So the nice thing about it is pre-snap, he's looking at the free safety. Post-snap, he's looking at the free safety, because that's going to tell him his progression. So pre-snap, that safety's cheating over like a son of a gun to account for the quads. He's automatically going to the X. If that free safety sits in the middle and then bails hard, he's hitting the W. If he just kind of slides, he's hitting the Y. Have we thrown to the Z in spring ball and in 7-on? No. We've thrown X, we've thrown W, we've thrown Y. We have not thrown the Z. The one thing we did throw to the Z the one time was that was where I just wanted to play with it, and I said, hey, all right, we're going to run blah, 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 Z hitch. So everyone else ran the normal play, and he just took 3 hard steps, stopped, and sat there. Everybody bailed. He was by himself, and once he caught it and took off, he got another 8 to 10 yards before the corner even touched him. So it's a nice little adjustment to where, fine, you're going to run 4 verts every now and then out of quads. You attach a little Z hitch, and you could probably hitch up any of these guys. I just kind of figured this was our read. I wanted to leave that there. And then since we weren't throwing that very often, no one was really respecting it. So I said, fine, let's run a Z hitch and let's see what happens. That's going to force the corner now to sit down, which then later on you could run some Y hitch, some W hitch, and then you could end up hitting your Z on a little cheap one, because that corner is now afraid if he's too backed off, and then they're going to throw a hitch. So a little bit of adjustment, a little bit of playing around. Again, Quads was something I'm playing with. Have we run this in a game yet? No. So can I tell you it's really going to work? No, I cannot. I can tell you it works against 7-on-7. Works really nice. Works really well. So I can tell you it works in 7-on. Can I tell you it works anywhere else? No. So again, working from a tight end to a spread and then to a really, really super spread empty look. This was just something we're playing with that we really like as far as a quad set. With the quarterback we have, we really like. We've talked about using it as a sprint out. The problem is I don't like it as a sprint out because he's throwing on the run and that really eliminates. Now, since it's a pre-snap, we could do it because, and you could do it as well, because if you know that X is taken up or that outside backer's cheating and you don't like it, you could roll that out, and so then that way get your quarterback out in space and then get some of those backers to suck up to really help with that. So you could do some kind of sprint out game if you wanted to. So that's a little bit of 4 verts. Again, that's basic. You know, when you talk to most people, when they say, how do you want to attack cover 3? Again, my answer is hitch first, just because I don't know what kind of quarterback we're going to have. But most people's answer is 4 verts first. So that's just some things of running out of double tight, running out of spread, looking to try and run it out of quads. So having a little fun there. And again, it keeps the kids excited because how many people you see really run quads? Not very often. Starting to see a little bit more empty. We don't see a lot of quads. So, and we have another couple of things that we're playing with that quad set, so people don't know, oh, they're just going to throw out of it. So we're playing some games with it as well. So again, thank you for the love, thank you for the support, like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if there's something you want me to cover, feel free to put it down in the comments. Remember, be great, push limits, hold the line, have a great day.